Hi guys, Nathan from Nathan's Online Academy here. 今天呢，和我们说的一样，要来简单的讨论一下 Modern Stoicism 是什么样的存在。那因为我们还是以英文教学为主，所以等一下的内容会以英文来做介绍跟讲授，大家可以当成音听的练习，反复听，或者是放慢速度来听看看。So, let us talk a little bit about modern day Stoicism. In order to understand modern-day Stoicism, we have to first delve into its ancestral roots. So when was Stoicism first established? Stoicism was first developed in ancient Greece, well, to be more precise, ancient Athens, during the 3rd century BCE. Now, why was it established? In order to answer this question, we must delve into not only the historical and philosophical context of Stoicism itself, but also social, political, and the cultural landscape of Greece back then. Let's first talk about the social and political turmoil during ancient times. Around 400 BCE, well, to be more precise, 430 to 400 BCE, I believe, the Peloponnesian War happened. Now, the Peloponnesian War was waged between two main players during that time, Athens and Sparta. And this full-scale war led to quite a profound and lasting impact on Athens and the Greek world, leading to social instability, political instability, economic challenges, and a sense of, well, disillusionment among the populace. Now we have a basic understanding of the historical context during that time. Political unrest and social upheavals razed the city, and the people were still feeling the aftermath of the Peloponnesian War. These people back in ancient Greece had experienced and gone through the Peloponnesian War. So Athens, once a flourishing state, had now lost its independence and was now under the Macedonian rule after the conquests of Alexander the Great. So once a free city-state, now under the control and rule of Macedonia, the people of Athens experienced an abrupt change in political dynamics, we could say that. And this change contributed to a sense of powerlessness and a yearning for autonomy. Now we can start connecting the dots. Why was Stoicism developed? People yearned for autonomy in a world that was razed by war. Havoc was wrought in every corner of the city. People could not really control their fate. They could not find a stable standing on the path to destiny. So in this turbulent sea of powerlessness, the people of Athens struggled to find a life-saving rope that they could tether themselves to, that could allow them to become much more grounded in body and mind. And thus, Stoicism was developed. So following this, we delve into the influence of earlier philosophies. Stoicism did not just pop out of the earth like that. It did not just appear out of nowhere. Its development was actually influenced by several earlier philosophical schools that were already pre-existing in Greece. The teachings of several famous and well-known names, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, these renowned philosophers had already laid the groundwork for moral and ethical inquiries. We cannot forget to mention one of the more influential forces that caused or greatly impacted the development of Stoicism, which is the Cynic philosophy. So the Cynic philosophy, especially with its emphasis on living in accordance with nature and an emphasis on simple living, played an instrumental role in shaping Stoic thoughts, well, Stoicism. Before we start discussing modern-day Stoicism principles, let us continue on the train of thought, the core tenets of Stoicism back during the ancient Greek times. After understanding the historical, social, and political context of the birth and development of Stoicism, I believe that all of you have a basic understanding of why and how Stoicism came to be back then. Stoicism emerged as a response to the prevailing uncertainties and challenges of that time. What it sought was to provide individuals, the citizens of Athens and Greece, with a practical philosophy with actionable principles that could guide these people through difficult circumstances. The Stoics, the people that we mentioned in the post, if you have read it, so for example, people like Zeno, Xanthus, Chrysippus, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, I believe some of these people you are familiar with, as they are extremely influential and important figures in history? Well, these Stoics emphasized the cultivation of virtue as the key to a flourishing and resilient life. So basically, virtue and inner strength were two of the core tenets of Stoicism during that time. Stoicism was also characterized by its particular ethical focus, as it promoted virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Again, this was mentioned in our post, so make sure you read it first. The Stoic philosophy also emphasized the use of reason and rationality to navigate life's challenges. So, rationality over your emotions. Think with your mind, not with your heart. This is basically what this Stoic principle is trying to talk about. So the ancient Stoics believed individuals had the power to shape their own fate and destiny, carve out a path for their own character, and respond to the external world, regardless of the challenges and conflicts that might come their way. So against the historical tapestry of ancient Greek times, it is quite understandable why this sort of philosophy was birthed. People sought to grasp their own destiny, to make a path for their own fate, regardless of the chaos and turmoil of the outside world. 好，我们接下来要来讲述的是 Modern Stoicism。刚刚简述完了 Stoicism 当时的历史、政治以及社会背景，以及该时空之下促成 Stoicism 发展以及诞生的原因。那现在我们就来继续延伸这个话题，来到现代。So let's talk about what modern Stoicism entails and its core tenets or principles, if it pleases you. Modern Stoicism, well, it encompasses a range of interpretations and applications, but there are a set of core tenets that are commonly emphasized by practitioners of Stoicism, or modern-day Stoicism. And of course, these core tenets, these set of basic principles, they draw inspiration from the ancient Stoic philosophy while also adapting to contemporary challenges of the modern world. 所以在这个纷乱纷扰的数位时代，我们到底要怎么去应用 Modern Stoicism 来成为我们的处世之道呢？ Well, let's talk about some of the core tenets, some of the major principles of modern-day Stoicism. Number one, virtue. Virtue as the highest good. Well, this is evidently derived from ancient Stoic principles, as mentioned earlier. So like ancient Stoicism, modern-day Stoicism places a central emphasis on virtue as the ultimate goal of life. So virtue is above everything else. So what exactly does modern-day Stoicism's virtue entail? Virtue can be understood as qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperament, as mentioned earlier. And it is generally considered as the path to eudaimonia, or, well, a fancy word for flourishing, of the spirit of one's character. Second tenet, the dichotomy of control. We also mentioned very briefly about this in our post regarding modern Stoicism. So let's elaborate further on this particular tenet. So modern Stoicism, much like its ancient counterpart, encourages individuals to differentiate between things that are in their control and those that are beyond their control by focusing on what people can influence, for example, such as our thoughts, our ideas, our actions, our responses, our reactions to things. We will be able to seek and to maintain inner tranquility and peace. Basically, in a nutshell, control what you can control and do not stress too much over the things that are outside of your control. Things may happen to you. You cannot control whether they happen to you or not. But what you can control is how you react. If you choose to lose your temper, if you choose to wallow in self-pity, then, well, you will have a bad day, and your day will only continue to go downhill. But if you choose a positive or a forward center of mass-looking mindset, then your day will possibly brighten and lead to better outcomes. So this is basically what dichotomy of control is trying to express. This is the second core tenet of modern-day Stoicism. Number three, third principle is acceptance of nature and fate. At first glance, this might seem a tad bit abstract, but allow me to shed some light on this particular concept. As a modern Stoic, we should acknowledge the inherent order of the natural world and embrace the inevitability of certain events. things that you cannot stop, things that will happen. And this involves the embracing of the impermanence of life, which means that we are mortal and we will die someday, and cultivating an attitude of equanimity in the face of challenges. So accept challenges as they will come, and going back to the second principle dichotomy of control, accept this challenge and choose how you react to it. Fourth tenet, mindfulness and self-awareness. Mindfulness practices that are inspired by Stoic principles are actually quite integral to modern-day Stoicism. As to what practices, many of the practitioners of contemporary Stoicism engage in self-awareness, which means that they pay extra attention to their thoughts, to their emotions, and to their reactions. Does this sort of ring a bell? It should, right? So this heightened level of self-awareness, it actually facilitates better control over one's reactions and responses to external events that is outside of one's control. Next principle is resilience and endurance. Modern-day Stoicism emphasizes building resilience and endurance, especially in the face of adversity. That means a healthy, optimist mindset. A forward center of mass, as Jocko would say, sort of mindset. Which means that you have to see challenges and adversity as opportunities for growth. Modern-day Stoics, well, they strive to face difficulties with courage while maintaining a steadfast commitment to virtue. Apart from resilience and endurance, well, modern-day Stoicism also greatly emphasizes rationality and reasoning. As mentioned earlier, we talked about having control over one's emotions and leading with rational thought instead of emotional reactions. And from what we have talked about earlier, it's quite evident in itself that rationality is also a main cornerstone of modern Stoicism. Modern-day Stoic practitioners, well, they aim to apply reason to their thoughts, their actions, their decisions, and avoid impulsive reactions while making choices in alignment with virtue. Well, as mentioned earlier, virtue is the ultimate goal of life for modern-day Stoics. We mentioned quite a few core principles and tenets of modern-day Stoicism, but there are still a few that I did not put in, as I deemed them not of equal importance as the others that I've mentioned earlier. But do not overlook them. For example, just very quickly, gratitude, appreciating the present moment, living in the present, is also another main principle of modern-day Stoicism. Being content as to where you are in life. Of course, that does not mean that you stop improving or stop striving for a better life, but you have to express your gratitude for what you have. Also, modern-day Stoicism has a central focus on virtue, so social compassion should not be forgotten. Empathy and compassion towards others is also of great importance in the world of modern-day Stoics. And finally, modern-day Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of continuous growth and improvement. So we should continue to learn, continue to strive to improve on ourselves, and never become stagnant. So now you have established a general framework of the basic principles of modern-day Stoicism, what it actually entails, what some of the core tenets and principles are, and how they can become actionable. 我个人非常推崇 modern-day Stoicism 的一个主要的原因，是因为它所宣扬的主要核心精神价值呢，确实是在这一个充满纷扰以及资讯爆炸的时代，可以帮助我们稳住自身中心的一个很好的一个思维模式。So in some way we are living in a world of chaos and turmoil, as did the people of Athens after the Peloponnesian War. We are feeling the aftermath. We are feeling the after effects of something new that is growing, and we are not yet prepared for it, which is the digital age. There's a particular quote of Joe Rogan that I quite like. He says something that goes like this: "Human beings are larvae of flesh and blood that would cocoon, metamorphose, and then turn into the digital butterfly." So we are in an age of transformation where our bodies are not yet prepared or fully equipped to deal with the influx of information and, well, the lure of social media. So if you want to live a better life, if you want to become more disciplined, if you want to express gratitude for what you have, instead of being pulled around by the currents of the digital era of social media, then I believe that modern-day Stoicism would be the perfect philosophy for you to adopt. Many of its principles are also actionable. I believe that these principles will help all of us greatly in some way or another. Well, I'm starting to ramble. Let me stop right now. That's it for today. I hope that all of you have learned something about Stoicism, modern-day Stoicism, what its core tenets, principles are, and how they can be applied to your everyday life. Same as always, please like this video, share it with your friends who you believe might benefit from this sort of content. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Nathan's Online Academy if you have not yet done so. And finally, 如果想要上1对1的专业英文家教课程，不管你的需求为何，只要跟英文有关，我都能够帮您解决。如果有这样的需求的话，欢迎透过 IG 私讯、我的官方网站、我的官方信箱这3个方式与我取得联络来报名课程。That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next video.